Welcome to the Architects of Travel. I'm John Richards. This is the show about the people building the future of travel. Developers, founders, and innovators creating the platforms, APIs, and products that power how the world explores. Architects of Travel is brought to you by liteAPI, the company behind liteAPI, the world's only open hotel and travel API with real-time rates and availability from more than 2 million properties worldwide. Start building the future of travel today at liteapi.travel. Today's guest is Marcin Teodoru, though you may know him better as Marcin AI. He's an AI innovator, influencer, and the founder of AI Builders. Recently, Marcin and his wife combined their expertise in AI and travel to launch a new travel platform called Zzzello Travel. That's with 3 Z's. In this conversation, Marcin and I explore how AI is opening doors that were once closed, making it possible for non-coders to build powerful tools while enabling experienced developers to move faster than ever before. We also talk about what it means for the travel industry, where new builders now have more opportunity than ever to challenge the status quo. The barriers are dropping, the tools are evolving, and the only real limits left are imagination and execution. All right, let's jump in. Marcin, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Likewise, my friend. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be exciting.
Those of you who don't know, Marcin Teodoru, man, this guy, he's an AI builder and educator, founder of AI Builders, a really cool community, and Zzzello Travel. So I'm excited to pick your brain today about travel and AI. I wanted to start first with, how did you get into doing this? You're leading this community, you're face of so much AI building that's happening, and I'm curious how you end up in a spot like that.
Oh man, how far back do we want to go? Right? So I'll give you a quick brief summary, I guess. So immigrant from Poland, moved to the US when I was 11, and I wanted to be a Hollywood director. That was my goal in life. Barely graduated high school, did 1 semester of college. So I was definitely one of those uneducated kids, you could say. And Google was kind of my savior in life. And so I started in film. So I wanted to be a director, and I ended up getting to do that. So in my 20s, I ran a film company, and I got to direct a few movies. I got to direct a documentary, which was amazing at the time. And right around turning 30 years old, I realized that I was kind of burnt out. I started when I was 16. I was very young. And the first job I actually had, though, was working for a radio station called Kiss FM. And at Kiss FM, it was the early internet days. So this is 1997, 98, 99. And I remember moving into film as everybody was moving into the whole online space. And all my coworkers were getting on the internet, setting up websites, doing all this stuff. And then I went the film route. 13 years later, after I left film, I started calling up all those old buddies and be like, hey, you guys still doing this internet thing? I need to get in on this, right? And I did. So I kind of got into the online space. My first journey online was actually getting into e-commerce. So I got on Amazon, I got into building e-commerce businesses, and then I did that for about 4 or 5 years, kind of made my first dollars, you could say, right? Where I was like, okay, now I don't have to have a job. I never really had a traditional job per se, but I always kind of was a side hustler, right? I always needed to have 4 or 5 things, moving so I could survive. And then once I got in and made a little bit of money, then I realized, okay, maybe now it's time to open up a business. And me and my partners opened up a app development company. So this is 2014, I think, 2013, 14. So we just missed that early wave where people were making, clock apps and making $1 million, right? We were a couple years too late. And we also were the very ambitious team. So I went in and we built out a business. We did a lot of really cool proprietary stuff. I don't have a development background. I actually built with my team. So I put together a team, which we still work with today, going now, 15 years, and got into the online stuff. I did the apps, And then unfortunately, it was a pain in the butt. It was too expensive, the development times, just the length of time it took to build projects. So I ended up shutting that business down, got back into e-commerce, and then OpenAI came out. And here we are.
It changed so much. Now, that story is a lot of learning new things, whether that was jumping into the movie industry or then coming back and then now jumping into AI. What kind of mindset do you have coming into new technology or just a new skill set in general that's like, how do I learn this quickly to get value out of this?
Yeah, so I would say for me specifically, I've always trying to be on the cutting edge. I'm always trying to stay ahead because I felt like that was always my advantage. Coming from my background, knowing like, okay, I have to be first to act, all risk. Like, I basically was all in pretty much on everything I did just because I wanted to learn as quickly as possible. And I've kind of brought that over into AI where, once the first OpenAI came out, I started playing with ChatGPT. First thing I did, I remember, was trying to code because I was like, wait, can this actually code for me? Built the first couple websites. And obviously, as the versions got better and better, I realized one morning, I told my wife, I literally didn't sleep for like 4 weeks. Like 4 weeks straight, I just went completely nuts and spent 18 hours a day, bloodshot eyes, because I couldn't believe that I could just create things out of thin air, which was the dream, right? If you're not a developer, you're a creative and a business person, it just opened up the world to me. And that's why, like, once I went in and started building, and then after building literally 100 different projects, I started teaching because I felt like the experience I had, I was like, people have no idea what's here and what's coming. So I'm going to literally strip this down to the bare necessities for beginners and then help people do this. And that's what I've been doing since, and just kind of running full steam ahead.
There was a set of skills you needed to work with developers and get them to build the things you wanted. And obviously that was expensive and time consuming. How has that shifted as you're working with AI and building up this new skill set? What are those like competencies that you're finding are most important?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest one is obviously with AI, the power to create design and also development. So, like, if we were having this conversation 6 months ago, I would have said, I'm using 80% AI to develop, and then my developer's still doing the 20%. 6 months now, it's like 98% I'm doing because the tools have gotten so good. And I've also gotten better at vibe coding. And then he just kind of brings it home, launches the products. Same thing with my designer. Before it was 98% him doing the work and me basically, either approving or modifying. Now it's kind of been flipped, where I'm kind of coming up with the concepts, designing the UI and the UX, and then he's kind of refactoring and then making it, putting that final non-AI polish, which we like to have in our products. But to be honest, if you're just starting, you really don't need anything. You just need the drive and put in the effort, come up with an idea, and pretty much build everything with AI. I truly believe that people can now start with zero on a Monday, and by next Monday have a full product ready to go, launched with their marketing campaign. Like, that's how fast it's advanced. I'm still like old legacy because I love to have people to work with and collaborating and stuff, right? So we still all work together with my partners. But for beginners and people that want to do this, that don't have, for let's say, budgets or a lot of time, they can just go in and learn and let AI teach you, because you can just go in and just ask the AI exactly what you want to learn and be able to do that.
Has that life cycle kind of shifted? Like, do you find that it's better to just get a working prototype out there and use it? Or is it wait till you feel like it's a bit more polished and you go through a bunch of those iterations with the AI to say, hey, no, let's keep improving this to get to something really solid?
Oh no, run and gun. Like, idea, MVP, waitlist, put it out there, because you can move so quickly now that you no longer have to worry about, oh man, I got to invest 3 months into this build and spend $50,000. I could literally throw up a waitlist with a clever idea, make a couple TikTok videos, put out some stuff on X, and next thing people are commenting, hey, when are you going to launch this? Oh, by the way, here's my waitlist. Go sign up. And next thing you get 1,000 people on your waitlist, you start emailing them, hey, I'm building this in public. You guys want to try it out? And the next thing, you've literally sold the product before you even built it. So I really believe that that's where the whole industry is moving. And the things I see on X now, I mean, literally kids in their grandma's basements launching $1 million wrappers of OpenClaw and are doing 30,000 MRR within 24 hours. I mean, that's how fast it's advancing.
It's crazy. And the level there, even a year ago, it was like, I'm not sure all this stuff's coming together. And now I'm seeing such polished products that come out without any extra layer added on top that it's I'm surprised at what people are capable of out there. Are there any kind of common mistakes or hangups that you're seeing, as you work, especially in your kind of community? Are there things that you're like, hey, here's the new way you need to be thinking or kind of approach that you should be having?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it is a massive problem, especially for beginners. I would say the biggest thing is don't fight with the AI. If you're trying to fix something, if you're trying to do something and it's doing a bad job doing it, just take a step back and just ask the AI, hey, you wasted $47 of my damn credits trying to build this feature and you failed miserably. Let's go back one step and I want you to use a different approach to build it. That's a big one. This will save you a ton of money because if you start fighting the AI, and again, they're getting better, right? The context windows are getting longer and they're getting much better, but just take a step back. Second one, and this is probably just as important, is go simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Something I learned early on, and this applies more to AI than ever. Don't overcomplicate it. We can all build now, but you don't have to. Build one feature for one product, for one audience that solves one problem. And that's it. There's 1 million people that could pay you for that. And then you bring them in, you get those users, and then you start adding features and building out more robust infrastructure for your product versus, again, spending 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in AI, having this massive product, launch it to crickets. And then you go, damn, I just wasted $600 and also 3, 4 weeks of my life.
Yeah, no, I've talked to folks who've gone down that route. That's really, really wise advice there. Now, speaking of focusing on a kind of central thing versus the complexity, let's talk about travel, which is very complex. And so you've launched Zzzello. I know app is in the works, and you've really dug into this space. And I'm curious because I've talked to folks who said, hey, this can't be done. It is too complex. Like you've got a lot of moving parts. How do you start to take a complex project then and make it simple enough that the AI can work with it? Are you doing this in like layer, almost like painting and putting on individual coats for each kind of aspect? Or are you trying to find, some core piece that drives everything? What's your kind of mindset when you do tackle something that seems complex, but it's going to be too much if you try to, eat the whole elephant all at one time?
Well, I mean, liteAPI made it literally one click. So I think that's the first thing when it comes to travel. My wife and I love traveling. We travel. We don't have kids and we travel a lot. We traveled probably to 15 different countries and actually living there, spending a lot of time there. And we talked about, man, it would be amazing one day to have a travel business. We talked about it. She actually had a travel blog for food. So we would go to different countries, different cities and meet chefs, and she would do blog posts. Then I was doing some content online, and then Med reached out from UAT, and we started talking, and he's like, hey, we have this product. It helps you build out, hotel booking business. And I'm like, yeah, right. That was my first thought. So I kind of dug in, and then I realized after just kind of looking at the platform, I was like, wait, it's a white label solution. It's literally plug and play. You guys handle everything on the customer service side, and I could actually set this up. So then I did. I actually set up the website, connected my domain, and then I had a business. And then I remember literally sending the link to my wife, and she was like, oh, this is really cool. I was like, no, this is our business. She's like, oh my God, when did you build this? I was like, today. She's like, what do you mean? Like, what do we have to do? And I'm like, nothing, it's done. Like you can literally book hotel stays and look at the pricing. And then I would literally show her and compare prices of these old legacy companies. Just even talking about this, John, still to me right now, kind of blows my mind. The fact that you could wake up, sign up to the platform, set this up, and have a business literally within a couple hours to me still sounds like it's not real, but I could tell everybody here that it is real because we operate this business. We've been running it for the last 6 months, and we've built it up. We have now quite a few sales coming in every day. We're doing a native application for iOS, which was kind of the next version, right? So we had the white label solution. We set up all of our socials. We started doing marketing. And then now we're taking it to the next step, which is like building a native app that's going to obviously have the endpoints with the API. So it's been amazing, honestly. And it's been fun running a business. I can tell you this, if anybody's listening to this that wants to set up a travel business, it's literally the best conversation starter in history. Because literally, we'll go into an event or like a dinner or a party, and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I run a travel booking business like booking.com." And they're like, "What?" I was like, yeah, we're in the travel space. It just that you can't comprehend it, right? Because of how we've been trained that these are legacy billion-trillion-dollar companies and the average person could never compete. Not to mention on the data side, but the development side, like how the hell would you even try to build something? So that's been a fun thing. And we've really enjoyed it. We really get to do it together. Me and my wife are doing the business together, and I brought on partners to help us. So it's been fun.
What do you see as that shift? I mean, it felt like for a long time the big players had a lock on all of this, but we're seeing with AI especially, but just new habits of how people are booking through social things like that. Some proliferation there. Where you see for folks looking to kind of get into that space, where should they be going? Is it, I should be trying to drive this on social? Should I be looking at building a travel agent app? Is it all of these things? Because you talk about your background in e-commerce, and I think that's kind of a special piece here where you have the ideas, but you also have the marketing knowledge to also make that really come to fruition.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, but the main thing is just getting started, because once you get it set up, and just send it to friends and family, honestly. We're really talk about beginning and getting this started, because once you see that register ring and you realize, okay, this actually works, this is a real thing, then you decide how much you want to push it, right? And I would start with the simple things. Go to social media, build it in public like I've been doing. I think that's been a fantastic way, and validate that through, your community, if you have a community, through your email list. And if you're literally starting from scratch, just the fact that you could set this up and go on social media and say, "Hey, I just launched a travel business. You guys want to go book on my business?" Right? And then as you obviously start getting sales, then you start running it as a real business and developing the different parts that is necessary that drives you the best results, whether that's running ads, whether that's doing social media, whether, that's going after the big names in the space, doing blogs, content driven YouTube. There's just a lot of different ways to kind of skin the cat. But once you just get going and you realize that it is real, because that's going to be the first thing for a lot of beginners. And if you already have a travel business and you're using it, you get it. But I think for a lot of people that haven't actually jumped in and realized that you could do this now, you could compete with the biggest names in the business. And the fact that you guys actually handle so much of it and you get the great rates, so then it's an easy, sell to people for them to actually try it.
I like the approach there of targeting the people that and building that, and then you can grow it once you've kind of got starting to get some market fit, or you've got a real product there. Now, I also know that you were a huge asset to our engineers as we were building out some of the AI prompting around folks who want to do vibe coding on top of a lot of this. Can you share a little bit of what that process was? I know you spent hours testing and running through. There's so many different platforms to build on. Is there a spot people should be focusing, or each one has its own value? What if you're looking to start vibe coding something on top of this, what's the best way to get into that space?
Yeah, so right now there's obviously a lot of tools. Depending on your level, if you're starting an absolute beginner, I would definitely look at some of the web-based tools. So Lovable, Bolt, Emergent. I would definitely go for one of those. And then when you log into the platform, there is a whole vibe coding now section that Nick and I worked on, and he developed, where you literally have a prompt, like a master prompt, that you could pretty much slap into any vibe coding tool now and put your API key, and it just builds you a website that's fully custom, that isn't the white label, but still connects everything, through all the endpoints. And it just works out of the box. Obviously, there's a lot of tweaking, but what it gives you is the ability to obviously customize it, right? The second one is if you're a little more knowledgeable in vibe coding, I would definitely go to a dedicated IDE. So this would be, your Cursor, your Claude Code, or like anti-gravity, with Gemini. All the models are so good. All the tools are so good that nowadays it's just pick one, put the prompts in, and tinker with it because you're going to get the results. When people talk about 3.6 and 6.9 and the newest version, they're talking about nuance. Like you're the average person who's just building pretty simple product. It's not a million, line code base that requires 50 different connectors and is built on a legacy system. These are new products using an API that knows about vibe coding. So it really streamlines that process for you. So just don't overthink this. Don't spend a month learning all the tools and then deciding what tool is best for you. Just pick one, take the prompts, start building it. You'll get results, and then you continue iterating. And then based on your skill level, as you get better, you can move to the more advanced systems where, you build out your custom cloud systems and your native apps, for example. But like, for example, with native, right? So we're building a native app with vibe coding, but also Rourke, for example, just launched their Swift native app. I took the prompt from you guys and I literally got a application that was built natively with your API connected, and it works. Like one prompt, one shot. This is how crazy things are getting. You still want to obviously develop it because you want to customize it and add galleries and add a social media feed and do all your colors and themes and all of that stuff. But as far as the tech stack, I think definitely just pick one of the top tools and then put one of the newer models and you'll be good to go.
Do you recommend folks go deep or are kind of broad as they're approaching this? Because it sounds like here when you're saying pick a tool and run with it, it's almost like just get familiar with it versus feeling like you need to try every aspect and compare across those.
Definitely go deep. Like I say, my thing I always teach people in our community is pick 3 tools. So let's say ChatGPT for my communication. Let's go with Lovable for my vibe coding web-based, and then anti-gravity for my IDE. Just pick 3 tools, master those 3 things, and you could pretty much build anything you could possibly imagine because you'll get distracted. The shiny object in this space is unreal. I mean, I literally have an AI that tells me every morning, I literally scours the internet for every new tool that has come out, and I just get a feed and I go through. And 4 months ago, it was maybe 2, 3, 4 a day. Now it's like 50 a day. Like it's just impossible to keep up. Right? The amount of emails that people are sending, hey, we're launching a wrapper of this, is nonstop. So if you want to get distracted, it's very easily done nowadays. So just pick those top 3. And then when you do, for example, start using ChatGPT, or no, let's use Lovable as an example in the vibe coding side. You're using Lovable, you like it, but you feel like you're hitting limits where you're like, damn, I wish I could implement this specific integration that Lovable doesn't support. Then it's time, okay, maybe it's time for me to shift and go to a more full stack platform like a dedicated IDE or some kind of CLI tool. So it's really based on your experience and what you're building versus just going for the most difficult solution right at the beginning, which I wouldn't recommend.
No, I like that. And I assume a lot of the learnings carry over between each different system that you're working on as you're like getting familiar with the ways you interact, even though they're going to adjust a little bit across.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're all kind of, especially when it comes to the IDEs, they're all VS Code clones, basically. So they pretty much follow the same script. But once you learn how to build on one, then you just go over. The buttons might be in different places, but they're all really using the same infrastructure.
Is there anything you're seeing like within the community that is surprising you of how folks are taking the knowledge you're sharing and the advice and then building on top of that? Like what are the cool things that you're like, wow, I didn't expect that to come out of this thing that we were talking about?
Oh, great question. I would say the biggest one is my dream was, I'm like, okay, I'm a psychopath, right? I'm going to go in, I'm going to spend a month, 18-hour days, I'm going to figure this out, right? But I know a lot of people can't do that. They have families, they have 9-to-5s, they're doing it on the weekends. But the fact that every day in our community right now, there is people that join, I get kind of chills just thinking about this actually, because we had a call this morning actually before we got on, and two women in our community basically joined me about 4 months ago. And On the same day, pretty much, they launched their platforms. And these are pretty intricate. Absolute beginners have launched full platforms live to the public. And that just makes me so freaking happy knowing that people literally that barely knew how to use ChatGPT, a couple months later are now actually launching full platforms part-time. Don't forget, they got jobs, they're doing their stuff, and they're actually going through the training, learning, and pushing and shipping. I think that's been the most, not surprising thing, but the surprising part is how many people are actually doing this. I expected a few people, oddballs like me, and some of those crazy, vibe coders, but it's totally regular people that are just doing it. There's no age gap here. We got people that are 18 and we have people that are literally in their 70s that are doing this in our community now, which is nuts.
I love it so much. You mentioned early on that you've always been a bit in that side hustle, and it feels like this is opening up for people that thought, oh, this dream I had or this idea wasn't possible. I don't have the money to do this, can now all of a sudden say, hey, I can give this a shot with such a low barrier of entry that, if it doesn't work out, fine. But if I just throw some time at this, I have a chance to make this dream I have come out of here. So do you see that like side hustle culture almost starting to grow and as folks shift away from, where they normally were focusing a 9-to-5 job?
1000%. I mean, it's never been easier, especially with everything that's happening now with OpenClaw and those agents and automations. People could literally get in right now without knowing anything. They could watch one of my training videos. They could then load up a vibe coding tool. And within 15 minutes, they could build a website from start to finish that they could sell for $1,500. Like literally in 15 minutes. First time opening the product. And here's why I know that, because somebody just did it in our group. Literally, a guy that just joined, he just did this and sold the website for $1,500. Then that person that he delivered the website to already called him and said, I have 4 more people. So that's how fast you could use this technology and make money with it. And that's just, website building. But today I put out a fun challenge. So anybody actually listening to this is, I said, if you're trying to actually make money with AI, but you don't know where to start, open up your phone when you go to a restaurant. And when you go in, and let's say they have a crappy menu, take a picture of their menu, load up Nano Banana, which is the Google image generator, and then say, hey, can you redesign this menu as a modern luxury, redo all the food images, and give me a full menu? And then take a picture of around the whole restaurant, including their front, like awning, and then go to VO3, which is their video tool, and be like, make me a commercial. While you're eating your meal, you let Jim and I cook this up for you. And when your bill comes, you say, hey, thank you, this was amazing. Oh, by the way, my team, while I was eating this meal, made you guys a new menu and made you a commercial for your restaurant. Have them watch it, see their eyes open and their jaw drop, and then just say, if your manager's here, I'd love to speak with him and show you what else we could do. That's how fast we were advancing. And the result's going to be incredible when you do it.
Yeah, no, that blows my mind. Just seeing the space around you, being aware and saying, hey, where can I use this in places that people aren't yet seeing the opportunity here.
And the fun thing too is also just, amongst your friends and family is when people are not using AI yet, just kind of nudging them and showing them the power of it. I love it with photos. Like we'll take a photo with a group shot. Like we were just in Portugal and we had like 8 people. So obviously taking one photo is impossible. The girls are looking this way. Somebody's got their eyes closed. And then literally every time we just take a photo, and then after I show it to them and they're like, oh, the girls aren't happy. And I literally go to Nana Banana. I'm like, can you just make everybody smiling perfectly and looking at the camera? And then 5 seconds later, I show it to them. They're like, what? Yeah, the power's at our fingertips.
That's incredible. Well, okay. So for somebody out there who's listening and wants to know more, wants to dive into this, you've got a ton of educational material. Where can they go to kind of start that journey if they don't know what to do or how to get started? They want to join in with a community of like-minded folks trying to build on this. Where can they connect with that?
So I have a school community called AI Builders. That would be the main place. This is where the community is. We have almost 500 members in there building from start to finish, as I mentioned. And then I also have just my social media. So I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and it's all just my name. So Marcin Teodoru. And then everything pretty much connects through there. So I make content and then I help people build products. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to help. And also our community is free for 7 days. So if you guys want to come and just test drive it, go in there, take all the education, and you don't have to even give me a penny. As long as you go in there and start working and building, that's all that matters, because all we're trying to do is just kind of get people into this space, because the more people that join the space pushes the AI companies to be better at making the tools for us. So we all win in the end.
Well, I'll make sure we have links to those in the show notes. I know from having worked with quite a few members of your community that they're a great bunch of people to work with. So yeah, definitely check that out. Marcin, thank you so much for coming here on the podcast, sharing your experience and giving us so much insight today. Appreciate it.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much, John. This was a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
This podcast is made possible by liteAPI. Through liteAPI and its white label platform, liteAPI helps startups, travel companies, and developers seamlessly launch booking experiences. Whether you're building a new travel app, adding hotels to an existing platform, or experimenting with new ideas in travel tech, learn more at liteAPI.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Architects of Travel. I'm your host, John Richards. This show is a production of TruStory FM, with audio engineering by Andy Nelson and music by Captain Cubes. You'll find all the relevant links in the show notes. If you enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to follow the show and leave a rating or review. It really helps others discover it. Join us next month for another conversation about building the travel future, right here on the Architects of Travel.